Namaskar. I'm Kumar Rakesh. You're watching Global Governance News TV. Today we are going to discuss G7 countries, Afghanistan, and global politics. Just yesterday, G7 countries just now, decided by the UK, convened a special meeting on Afghanistan. And what was the agenda, how they just behave, and a NATO representative and UN representative also attended the meeting. And I just try to read the statement after the concluding the meeting. So uh, after that, we'll discuss the issue accordingly. So under the presidency of United Kingdom, with the leaders, this is statement, joint statement from G7 leaders on Afghanistan on 24 August 2021. So, under the on 24th August, under the presidency of United Kingdom, with the leaders of Group of Seven met virtually to discuss the situation in Afghanistan. We were joined by the Secretary General of United Nations, UN, and NATO. We reform our steadfast commitment to the people of Afghanistan and support the UN Security Council statement on 16th August. We express our grave concern about the situation in Afghanistan and call for calm and restraint to ensure the safety and security of vulnerable Afghan and international citizens and the prevention of humanitarian crisis. We call for the adherence to obligation under international human rights law, including the rights of women, girls, minority groups, and that international humanitarian law is upheld in all circumstances. We honor the significant, we means the all G7 country, honor the significant sacrifices made by the Afghan people, people of our own countries, and the countless others who have worked toward a more peaceful, just, and secure future of Afghanistan. The Afghan people deserve to live in dignity, peace, and security, reflecting the last 2 decades of their political, economic, and social achievements, in the particular for women and girls. Afghanistan must never again become a safe haven for terrorism nor a source of terrorist attacks on others. Working with the partners, in particular NATO allies, we will all continue to fight terrorism with the resolve and solidarity wherever it is found. Any future Afghan government must adhere to Afghanistan international obligations and commitment to protect against terrorism, safeguard the human rights of all Afghans, particularly women, children, and ethnic religious minorities, uphold the rule of law, allow unhindered and unconditional humanitarian access, and counter human and trafficking effectively. We call on all parties in Afghanistan to work in good faith to establish an inclusive and representative government, including with the meaningful participation of women and minority groups. We affirm our enduring commitment to the people of Afghanistan, including through a renewed humanitarian effort by the international community. To this end, we support the UN in coordinating the immediate international humanitarian response in the region, including unfettered humanitarian access in Afghanistan, and will contribute collectively to that response. As part of that, we will cooperate together and will endeavoring in other countries in the region on supporting Afghan refugees and host communities as a part of a coordinated long-term regional response. We call on all partners of Afghanistan to support this effort and the wider regional stability through multilateral channels. As part of this, our immediate priority to ensure the safe evacuation of our citizens and those Afghans who have partnered with us and assisted our efforts over the past 20 years to ensure continuing safe passage out of Afghanistan. We'll continue to coordinate closely on this, and we expect all parties to continue to facilitate this and to ensure the safety of humanitarian and medical personnel and other international service providers. We will all cooperate together and the neighboring and other countries in the region hosting refugees on the coordinated approach to safe and legal routes of resettlement. So we'll work together and with our allies and regional countries through the UN, G20, and more widely to bring the international community together to address the critical situations, critical questions facing Afghanistan. As we do this, means G7, will judge the Afghan parties by their action, not words. Underline, line to be underlined. In particular, we reform that the Taliban will be held accountable for their action on preventing terrorism, on human rights, and particularly those of women, girls, and minorities, on pursuing an inclusive political settlement in Afghanistan. The legitimacy of any future government depends on the approach it now takes to uphold its international obligation and commitment to ensure the stable Afghanistan. If you see just I just was reading the statement, complete statement, verbatim, word by word. So what just G7 is just trying to assure the action preventing terrorists and the minorities. So, but if you see the current status, so we'll discuss on those issues. So welcome Firoz Bakht Ahmadji, the scholar and the former Maulana Azad National University and academician, and Anita Choudhary ji, senior journalist, and Alok Lahad ji from Spain, senior journalist, analyst, and Rakesh Tiwari ji from Canada. So I'll start from Firoz Bhai. How just you see the statement of the G7 on humanitarian ground and Afghanistan and refugee minorities, and if you see the minority, I think first time in the history of Afghanistan, Hindu Sikhs are now evacuated Afghanistan. As you have seen the last day how Hardeep Puri came with the Guru Granth Sahib, and all Hindus and Sikhs are not in Afghanistan. Firoz Bhai,
All right.
yeah,
Kumarji, you know, all of us have been witnessing that the situation in Afghanistan is very fluid. Nothing is
yeah,
settled. Am I audible? Can you
yeah,
listen
yeah.
to me?
Very, very, very clear.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Now, you see, the utmost worry as far as Afghanistan is concerned is that it is our neighboring state, neighboring country. First thing. Second thing is, we do not know what kind of government is going to settle there. Will it be? Certainly, it is not going to be a democratic government. It is not going to be a government, that used to be there in the time of Karzai or maybe after him. It
Ghani,
is going
yeah,
to be
yeah.
a Sharia government. Now, what kind of Sharia government is it going to be? Nothing is certain about Afghanistan. And there is one section in Afghanistan which is against these Taliban. Maybe, fierce fighting is going on between Taliban and, the faction of Abdullah Masood.
Northern Alliance.
It is very unfortunate, these people have made a hash of Afghanistan. I remember, just let me complete this. I remember in my childhood, Afghanistan used to be a wonderful country. And, many people used to go to Kabul. They used to bring dry fruits from there. They used to bring certain other uh, glorious things from there, clothes and whatnot. And it was a time of King Shah Zahir Shah, right? Till the king was there in Afghanistan, it was doing very well, and there were no restrictions. Today, if some lady is seen putting lipstick on her, lips, they will just start flogging her. They will start, they will arrest her, and you have seen what all is going on there. They talk about Sharia, but they are doing everything which is against Sharia. They talk about Islam, they are doing everything un-Islamic. I mean, I do not know what kind of Muslims these people are and what kind of Islam they are following, because
Okay, okay,
whatever they are doing there in Afghanistan, nobody is able to understand. Nobody can comprehend what they are going to make of this country. It was a nice country. It was a Today it is a very
I think so. Network
and
problem, I think. Yeah.
mostly, yes, mostly, what last 5 seconds. Mostly, what is very pathetic is that this is a country which is a Muslim country, and this is a country which is going to be run by Sharia, and only Muslims are running away from there. And strangely enough, the other Muslim countries are not giving, refuge to
Yeah,
their Muslim brethren. Turkey has closed the borders. Arab countries, 56 Arab countries
Kazakhstan.
have
Yeah,
closed the
yeah.
borders. I mean, it's a hullabaloo. Nobody knows what is going to happen in future.
Okay. So nice. So Anita ji, how Firoz Bhai just narrating that they are not the actually name of Islam, but they're not the Muslim. They are not doing whatever the Sharia law says, whatever the Islam says. They are the what is the Talibanis or other way. They are the anti-Muslims, anti-Sharia, and that's the hooligans like that. What do you think? And how just G7 statement, joint statement, what agenda? I'll also again I'll focus the agenda of G7. So how just Firoz Bhai just shared his view. How do you think now?
Thank you, Rakeshji, for giving me this chance to speak about this issue. We are very unfortunate livelihood of this universe that we are going to witness this kind of situation, that our neighboring country Afghanistan is suffering like anything, but the so-called powerful countries, they are keeping quiet, they are keeping bums on this issue. This is a very serious issue. If Afghanistan is there is no peace in Afghanistan, it means there is no peace in world also. But America thinks, or powerful countries thinks, that this is the way to show our bossism. This is, I'm talking about the European countries. Now I will talk about the Islamic countries, the 57 Islamic countries. They are keeping bums on this issue. This is very surprising. Either it's Saudi Arabia or other Islamic countries. They are not showing their concern that one Muslim that is called Taliban, maybe it is a Kattarwadi or a fascist kind of Musliman, but he is invading the Muslims only. And all the Muslim countries, they are enjoying, yes, we are supporting Taliban. Even the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, they have issued one statement. They said that we are very concerned about the situation of Afghanistan, and we hope and we are praying that the peaceful transformation and a established government should form in Afghanistan. What does it mean? What do you mean by this? You are so many statements you have issued. You have raised your voice in UN also on the issue of Kashmir, that Kashmir is facing the human right violation. But now this is not a human right violation. I am very surprised about the role of America also. Even yesterday, the American president has faced the against voice of their member only in their Senate. And America, the visuals are coming, the kind of dollars they have left there, the kind of arms and ammunitions and tanks and choppers and fighter jets they have left for the Talibanis. They were not able, because they were hurried that my life is in threat, and they ran to the Abdul Hamid Karzai Airport, International Airport in Kabul, but they were so concerned about their liquors. 65,000 beer cans they have carried with them. 22,000 liters liquor they have carried with. This is very important for them. That weapons and arms and ammunitions are the very idiot kind of things, and leave it for Taliban. They will enjoy it. They will enjoy it. And only beer we have. We are the people who can only enjoy the beer and liquors. This is the thought of the NATO countries and America. So I'm very surprised that they call themselves as a progress country. They call themselves as a super. Actually, they are the very coward kind of country. They always want to put their bossism on the Asian countries, especially on Central and South Asian countries. So they always, when it comes to, maybe the America don't like Germany, and Germany is a very competitor of France. But when it comes to bossism on Asian region, they come together. Yes, we are the NATO country, and we will take away our liquors and beer cans, and these arms and ammunitions are such a bullshit for us. I don't want it. Please leave it for the Taliban. They will enjoy it. And Northern Alliance, they are kind of bichara kind of people. Please help us. Please give me arms and ammunition. Please give me weapons. We will defend. We will certainly fight with the Talibanis, and we will kill them or whatever they are promising. But it doesn't matter for the powerful country. So we are the unfortunate people that we are facing that kind of humanity in this human world. Thank you.
Okay, so nice. Alok ji, how just Anita ji just reacted on how the attitude and behaviors of the NATO countries and the developed countries, and whatever actually G7 has just to make the agenda, how they will go with, and how just the fact is different and their issues are different. The plans of 5 parts immediately helping those who have the direct obligations, protecting ourselves against any threat from terrorists, supporting Afghan people the reason through the humanitarian and development assistance, creating safe and legal routes to resettle Afghan in need, developing a clear plan for dealing with the new Afghan regime and unified concern. But whatever Anita is saying, that is also a part of the story. We can't ignore it. But how just G7 just convened a special meeting and with the UN representative, NATO representative, I think they have some obligation to do settlement. How do you analyze the situation? Alok, Lahad.
Thank you so much, Kumar Rakesh ji, and good evening to all the fellow panelists. I mean, if we take G7 into account, 3 of the countries are from Europe. Yeah. So I'll just stick on to that. I'll not talk about more than 3. Let's say I'll not talk about
4 countries. 4 countries.
Yes, Italy is also there. Yeah, you're right.
4 countries. Yeah, 4
so
countries.
Now this whole G7 meeting has been called on the insistence of UK. And the Prime Minister of UK was insisting ever since that this date of 30th of at this month end, this should be extended because it's practically impossible for them to evacuate their own army men. Their
31st August, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So now, what is expected is who called everybody in there? Let's say the G7 is part of lots of countries are part also of NATO. And NATO forces were, in a way, they were pushed into Afghanistan by United States of America. So when United States of America is doing something like this, it has to start leading from the front. Now, nobody was interested. Why did India get into Afghanistan? Because obviously there was pressure from White House that India should also be doing. We didn't send the military, but we did some developmental work and all that. Now, in case UK is saying, Germany is saying, France is saying that we want this time extended, Joe Biden comes up, and before he comes up, before this meeting, he sends his CIA head who goes and talks to the Taliban, and they are tight-lipped about it. And they, the CIA is obviously not going to comment. And there has been a point-blank kind of, to all the G7 countries, the United States of America has told them that no extension is there. So not only G7 people, the European Union people are very upset about it. The Prime Minister of UK said they have nothing to say because what can they say? They have a leader which is not leading from the front. That's the problem with that. So the President of the European Commission, Charles Michel, he was commenting, and they are all trying to show a very lovely face, but deep inside. Or, for example, Ben Wallace, the Defense Minister of UK, if you analyze his statement, they're trying to be goody-goody because most of the time they cannot go against the United States of America. The problem is that now what do you do with a leader? And today, if you see President Biden's statement, he has blamed it on his previous president. But what was stopping him for telling, you've become the president, you've won the election, the American people have voted for you. You have to lead G7, you have to lead NATO because you are the number 1 power, at least on paper you are there. But in reality, what is happening is, the question is, who is in charge? Is America in charge or is Taliban in charge? Taliban is coming up and saying, we are not going to extend. This is the red line and we are not going to go beyond this. And you better pack up your guys and you better pack up. After this, Afghans will not be allowed. I mean, come on, it's a terrorist organization. You handed over. You had 20 years of work. You had won it you were in the winning position, and suddenly from the mouth of the of success, you have pulled out a failure. This is what is happening, and this is what has happened. I think everything,
Okay.
UK, France, Germany, everybody is very upset, but obviously on the forefront they are not going to say anything. So they talk about human rights, women, girl, minorities, both ethnic and religious, and of course that no child soldier should be done. And you are banking on what Taliban is saying, and you are trying to put up a face that Taliban has changed. You couldn't build up a military which was going to face them in 20 years, and you expect Taliban to change overnight. In 20 years, if you couldn't build up a military, how do you expect the Taliban? Now they have taken bath in nectar or whatever, and now they've come up with a new version of Taliban, which is very,
Yeah,
cultured and
yeah,
going to look
yeah,
after
yeah.
democratic
Sure.
rights and human rights and whatnot. When there are reports that they are even raping the dead woman, I mean, come on.
My
How
God.
can you expect?
So
How can you even think of them?
inhuman.
So I think nobody is voicing it out. I'm voicing it out, and European Union, everybody is very upset with this. But I mean, it's a sorry state of affair that America is not leading from the front, and it is Taliban which today is calling the shots, and they put a right, and then NATO chief comes up and says, no, 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 we'll do something, we'll do this and all that. Nothing is actually
Okay.
happening. So
Okay.
the 31st of August is the date, and you better pack up and go,
I
and
don't.
whoever
Yeah.
can, fine,
Yeah.
whoever cannot, search for life. That's the situation.
After
It is
5 or 6 days.
unfortunate, but it is
Yeah,
this.
you are right. Rakesh Tiwari ji, just Canada is also part of G7, and the Canada Premier also they're meeting, and how just you think that from the Canada with Afghanistan and whatever humanitarian issues and the politics.
Okay, let me say one thing. After fall of Soviets, the world became one center. Centered, American centered, where America has voice anywhere and everywhere. So that and when this happened, so now when we are looking at it, when Alok ji is mentioning that we were expecting the leadership of America, as well as we were looking for leadership from NATO. So actually, leader was not even NATO, leader was America. So it was one center, it was America centric world we were living in. And when America has fallen, now we all look in chaos. So no country, even European countries, they said we can't do anything if US is not there. So so this is the reality of today. As per question goes about Canada, US is our neighbor. We are wholeheartedly with US. Means that's the way neighbors should be. Okay. No matter
But
what happens.
I'm talking about Afghanistan. Whatever
Yeah, yes, sir.
Canada
I'm,
just
I'm
topic.
coming to
Yeah,
the Afghanistan, but
yeah,
understand this, that Afghanistan or any part of the world that comes next. First is US and Canada, because we are neighbors and we live together and we have to live together no matter what. So wherever US is going to be, that's where Canada is going to follow. And please
follow.
understand it
Yeah,
very well.
yeah,
I hope and
yeah.
wish same thing Bharat can do, and let other countries follow, which is surrounding that area. Same way Russia does it. All the Baltic nations, they have no choice but to follow. That's the
Uh,
world we are
Tiwari
living
ji, on this issue, Russian strategy is very different now, and very strategically and politically.
in. What do you mean by that, sir?
Sir, what you say, just you're talking about the Russia.
No, I
That's why
said
point
it. I said openly and
that's I
bluntly.
pointed out about the Russia, stand,
Yeah,
and the
Russia,
Taliban on
Russia has taken
Afghanistan.
a stand. Russia has taken a stand to support Taliban for a strategic
Okay,
reasons.
so
They knew.
okay, I'll take the inputs from Dr. Dhira's call. Yeah, basically, you need to go and keep an eye on the U.S. affairs and how G7 is reacting on the humanitarian ground. Dr. Dhiras.
Thank you for having me on the show. I'll actually try to bring your attention to the collapse of the healthcare infrastructure which has happened in Afghanistan.
Much important.
People are not talking about it. They're more overwhelmed in the geopolitics. But
Absolutely.
it's a huge humanitarian crisis. I'm actually working with a couple of companies right now to see if we can start an online portal for telehealth for people in
Please
Afghanistan.
put your proper frame, Dr. Dheeraj. Your the face
Yeah,
is not.
I'm actually currentely, as I speak to you, I'm trying to collaborate with certain companies who will help us to deliver healthcare, telemedicine healthcare resources in Afghanistan. Although as you know, internet has been disrupted many times, even in the capital city of Kabul. So there are big challenges. You would be shocked to know that the maternity wards in Kabul are non-functional. If you have a heart attack in Kabul right now, your chances of dying from an MI, which is totally preventable, is close to 100%.
Dr. Dheeraj, what chances of dying? They are with the guns. If
See,
you want to leave her now, that is also a point.
that's
But
true.
your
But
point is so valid. Your point is
right,
also so valid and very valid.
we all are humans. We as doctors trained.
Either heart attack or bullet. Both
Yeah.
are there.
Now, this is not a laughing matter
Okay,
or a
please,
smiling
please,
matter,
please,
for
please,
sure.
please,
So,
Dr. Dheeraj. Yeah.
it's been a week. I'm trying to negotiate even the day, night. We are working closely to it. And so far, we have zero success. I have called personally and emailed so many people. The point I'm trying to say, a small thing like a heart attack, which nobody should die in a current world from a minor heart attack. Your chances of dying in Kabul is 100%. I'm a nephrologist. You will not get dialysis as of today in entire Afghanistan. It's all gone. If you are delivering, if you have a C-section, your chances of dying while delivery is very high. Nobody internationally is paying close monitoring to this. Unfortunately, WHO has failed the task, and all this geopolitical turmoil has come in play. And not to talk about the COVID story, that is totally shut down. So I will not even go there because I keep a very close eye on COVID developments. It's very disheartening. All the efforts we had done, international community has gone down the drain. Unfortunately, you would not believe the surgeons have applied for emergency visas to Iran, to Pakistan, to India. There are so many nephrologists. There actually, Afghanistan had very few nephrologists. All of them, 90% of them have escaped the country.
Yeah.
Dialysis centers are shut down. So somebody has to talk about this side of the story as well. Now, coming straight to what you guys were talking about, geopolitics, I want to bring your attention to something which I think Mr. Tiwari and some other panelists have mentioned. America was spending close to 300 million with an M dollars a day in Afghanistan. They have spent in last 20 years, which is 7,200 days, is $2 trillion of financial hard earning, hardworking taxpayers' money. So there was a lot of pressure. And don't forget, Joe Biden's own son was in army, and he's very against any disputes. I will not debate. I'm not a political analyst, so I can't talk about the right decision versus wrong of withdrawal. A lot of people in America are questioning the withdrawal policy was not accurate. I will leave that aside, but I will just come to one point that there is a limit to which you can support a country. There was an Afghan general, if you know his name, General Wali Ahmad Zai. He was being replaced by General Batullah Ali Zai on 11th of August. What is the need of replacing the head of the army on 11th of August 2021? And I don't understand how much have you seen the weapons of Afghan army which were confiscated by even Indian army doesn't have those weapons. They're very advanced weapons. The Humvees they have left, the tanks they have left. All what US army stopped doing for them is providing a air support. Afghan army was not as well equipped as Taliban was not as well equipped as Afghan army. What I don't understand, and I spoke about this on national media on ZTV and another channel. They called me. I spoke on health crisis, but I raised a point which I think you guys probably better understand than me. I would like to get an input from you people. How come a well-trained army just leaves the weapon and lets the country fall apart? It's out of my understanding. 20 years of training, there was a corruption in the army. If there was a corruption in the army, the salaries were not paid. So why was everybody sleeping? They could not find out there is a corruption in the army. When the Taliban will come, these people will lay down the weapons. How can you not expect that from happening? And I feel everybody has failed the people of Afghanistan. including I myself consider also a guilty in this. Everybody in the planet has failed the people of Afghanistan, every single country.
Yeah.
And how
Yeah,
can
agreed.
you tell me, Mr. Rakesh ji and Tiwari ji and Loda ji and Choudhary, Anita ji, you guys are expert in these fields. You tell me, even how can a well-trained 300, 400,000 army lay down weapon in front of 60,000 people, and everybody saying they were not getting salary? What about patriotism? Are you seriously joking with me? Our Indian army people die for salaries? They die for patriotism. Where was the patriotism in Afghan people? What happened? These people are known to be the trained fighters. What I can't comprehend around my own mind. On top of that, if there was a
Nice
corruption,
question.
what was the
Nice question.
president? What was the
Alok ji.
president? What was the
Tiwari ji,
president
Tiwari
to
ji.
make
Just
sure?
taking, yeah, very, very valid question. Very nice question, Dr. Dheeraj. Very on the humanitarian border also, and just whatever the global humanity also. Tiwari ji.
Well, thank you so much, for giving me the chance to speak. As Dr. Dheeraj has rightly pointed out, some of the questions which is bogging everybody's mind. That how come, 1 to, when we talk about 1 to 3, when we equivalency of army, when we talk about it, and the 3 people can be defeated, or 300,000 of Afghan army can be defeated by 50 or 60,000 Taliban. So my understanding is very clear. Number one, there is a news which is emerging where ISIS, Islamic State, is saying that US has handed it over to them. Might have some weight around it, because it doesn't make sense to me that one way US army is going, the another way they are coming. So there might be something going on which we are not aware of it. But definitely the questions which Dr. Dheeraj has raised brings that point. As per question goes about patriotism, let me say one thing which is coming to my mind. In modern era, even before too, and here in Bharati, I will say land, Rishi Dayanand has said at one time, he said, worst to worst kind of administration is, if it's your own, is better than the best to best administration of foreign land. Okay, he has talked about that time Britishers. So the reason, because nobody liked US at that time, and they tried to force upon them. So that was one basic reason. And I will say US has to take sole responsibility for destroying Afghanistan. NATO is equally responsible, and we are responsible because we are mute spectators, because we watched and we let it happen.
Okay.
That's why Mahabharata happened. And this Mahabharata
I'll take the same question to Alok Lahad ji. But I think all are not the silent spectator. How G7 reacted, that is also a reaction.
On the word,
if you
sir.
see, sir,
Not
if you see,
sorry.
no, sir, practically or not practically, but whatever they have acted, so we should discuss on that. We should go on that, how they have been acted. So you can't say like that. Why the meeting convened? And just let us discuss the.
So that's why I
how the
said
approach should be there.
United Nations have failed, just like League of Nations have failed at that time. After the First World War, in my
Sir,
understanding, this is what happened.
This was a matter of the USA, and just the US Army and have controlled 20 years. So, Anita ji, but first Alok ji, then I'll take Anita ji. Alok ji. So, how we can't say that all have failed, but what is the politics as there? How the China and Pakistan come together, and how the Russia supporting. So, this is this is a different game in the name of the Taliban and Afghanistan. Alok Lahad ji.
Not to take away with Dr. Paul's question, like why did the Afghan army fail after training after 20 years? The chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff, Mark Milley, he said even he could not have expected the Afghan army to fail. I was expecting it to fail. I'm not a general, I'm not an army man, but I have some common sense. And the common sense is, we have to first ask the question, whose war was it anyway?
Yes.
whose war was it anyway? There was a king. He's thrown away by this Mr. Durrani, who is thrown away by another group which is supported by the Soviets. Now, when the Soviets come in, it is then the Americans think like, oh my goodness, what is happening here? Let's do something about this.
True.
Then they go to Pakistan, feed money to them, and create, Mujahideens. Then Mujahideens come up, and then Mujahideens go against the Russians. Till then, fantastic. Russians pull back. The game should have been over, but the game was not over. Then they make another group called the Taliban, which is more radical, and they keep feeding. And when they create their own monster, and this monster goes up, and with 7/11, they attack America, then they come back again and they say, we have to do something about it. Now, if I'm an Afghan who was living a very modern and, it could have been a poor country, but I was living peacefully. The girls, as we mentioned in other programs, and when these refugees came to India, some of them were my classmates. I'm still in touch with them. These girls were wearing more modern clothes than Indian girls were in New Delhi. Let's not talk about Uttar Pradesh and Bihar and other or Orissa. These girls were more forward-looking. They were more democratic, be it monarchy or be it, even in a communist government which was there. So now you are trying to create something, and you said that military has to. Let's say the military has to fight because you have trained them to become a democratic force now. I mean, there were some charges of rigging with one another, but largely we can say after Karzai, there have been elections in Afghanistan. So, like in the Baltic, the democracy is relatively new. So you have to deal with a new democracy, support it. Just tell me what was the need to have, a closed door kind of, this system which they had. Americans go and sit with the Taliban. What was the purpose of doing it? Why did they do it in the first place? They should have said, okay, we are going to withdraw slowly our forces, and the Afghan forces will take care of this. So they could have asked,
Alok, there was also a story.
Like, let's say Poland was there or somebody else was there, and American forces should have been the last to leave.
Absolutely.
And that would have given the courage to the Afghan forces, and they would have known, and the Afghan government as well.
Yes.
And suddenly you go and sign up a pact with the Taliban, and then the president which you put there, he runs away, everybody runs away. Now the soldier is going to say, who am I going to fight for?
Yes,
what
true.
principles am I going to fight for? America is not leading from the front. The puppet governments that put there, they were also not leading from the front. That's the reason the Afghan army failed. Afghan people are not. They are very courageous people. I've known them.
According to some reports,
it is because the leadership failed.
Alok, there were some reports. What is right or wrong? We have to look into that. Actually, how the US was supporting Afghan premiers, they were just giving all the expenses for the 350,000 an army and whatever they recorded, but they are not properly using that money. One. Number two, how they have done and how they have just distorted all the facts of the Afghan scenario. So, Anita ji, how do you see all the scenario? How America did good or bad, that is different thing. But something, the story of corruption of with connivance of Afghans and the US army people also. There is also a story there.
Yes, it is very true that Afghan was a very small country dominated by America. So what? Just look at the example of Kashmir. The money was coming from the border side, and they were throwing stones. They were pelting stones on their own army. So if you are sitting and having all the facilities, so it's okay, na? Why we will do this? So America has mentally and physically, America has made them paralyzed, that you are not able to do it. One example I am giving you. One person, although the official government has not formed by the Taliban, but they are started appointing the portfolio and all that by their own, and they have given the portfolio of defense ministry to the Mullah Abdul Qayyum Zakir, who was in jail of America in Guantanamo. He was the prisoner of America, and now he is the defense appointed by the Talibanis as a defense minister of Afghanistan. Gul Aga. Who is Gul Aga? The closest person of Mullah Umar. We know the founder. Who is Mullah Umar? The founder of Taliban. And he is now the finance minister of Afghanistan. And America has issued lookout notice for this Gul Aga. But America is quiet, keeping quiet. It's nothing bother to him. Joe Biden has, in every second day, he is issuing some statement, and the crux of that statement, if we don't bother about anything, the thing is that our army personnel should reach. This is very good. As a president of the America, his first concern should be towards his army personnel. They should reach very safely to the America. But what he is doing, he is even showing his helplessness, that he's giving a statement that ISI threat is there. And we are feeling that ISI threat is there, and some kind of, if something will happen, then we will not leave Taliban. And Taliban is saying, get out from here. Till 31st, you should not be on this land. This is the powerful America. So we can understand what kind of game. And this is the game this game will let down America in a very down stage. I'm telling you, it will be the curse for America, because every time this kind of terrorist politics runs very nicely. When you are doing something, every time you have terrorism, you have created terrorism in Iraq, you have created terrorism in some other country, Haqqani group. Now the Haqqani group, the red corner notice for the Jalaluddin Haqqani and Sirajuddin Haqqani, and they are roaming around very freely in a road of Kabul. America has blind now. They are not viewing all these visuals, and they are not able to capture this Jalaluddin Haqqani and Sirajuddin Haqqani.
Okay, Anita ji, actually, we all have to also see the politics of America and how they are behaving, and how the G7, how the role of America, they are with the G7 groups. What G7 adopt the resolution. So, Dr. Diaz, how do you just see as a citizen, I think, as an Indian American, how just you analyze the situation, how the behavior of America towards Afghanistan and Taliban? Is it good or bad or satisfactory?
I think overall we have to understand one thing for sure, that there is a deadline for everything. 20 years was more than enough time. I do understand maybe the exit strategy could have been different, but now we have a crisis in the hand. So instead of thinking what we could have done differently, I think like we as physicians always manage emergencies in a different state of mind. We always have a plan for that. I think that's what really needs to be done, because we don't need disruptions like this. World just is evolving from COVID. There is a very big financial meltdown crisis happening financially as well, entire planet. We also have different industries which just started to come up. Wall Street had crashed, like EV. I do analytic work for different EV companies and green energy and solar. Everything has crashed. Because of this turmoil in Afghanistan, I'm very worried. This will affect Kashmir. I belong originally to Kashmir, and our extended family has suffered from this fanatic Islamic, I should not use the religious name, but terrorism effects. But same thing which happened when USSR was broken down. All those unemployed people ended up in Kashmir and starting all this terrorism. So now you have 9,000 fighters from Pakistan which went to Afghanistan to fight against the Afghan forces. They'll be unemployed. So they'll come back and try to invade and create an issue. Our armed forces are very well equipped, but the threat level will go up and it will cause instability in the region. Like some of your panelists said, that's very, very important. We have to keep a very close eye to it. I really hope and pray that Taliban actually becomes what they are trying to portray the world to get a recognition, which I really, really genuinely doubt they are. Maybe they have a mask, but I pray. We can only pray at this point, because I don't see any other country trying to get in the honeycomb at this point, sending their troops on the ground. I think at this point there will be a lot of negotiation. I think that's the only way out, and everybody should put for the healthcare
Okay.
infrastructure to be restarted.
Okay. Tiwari ji, the last intake. Good. Thank you.
Well, I'll take it from where Dr. Dheeraj has left. In my humble understanding, the saga, the fight is going to continue on. Is not over. Is not over, because as we spoke, a few days back, and we are talking now. So Panjshir Valley and that over there, Northern Alliance is there, and now we have to realize this one part too, that other Afghan soldiers and other families, they were like, before Afghan people were depending too much on America. Now they know what is situation, and so they are going to fight themselves, and whosoever can help them can help them. So this is not over yet. I don't think the world is ready to take any such kind of administration in the world, such brutal as Taliban, because it's not that then is not going to be one Taliban. It's going to be all over the world, all over the at least minimum we are talking about it. Everywhere there will be a wave of Islamic countries where Sharia law will be more important. We are talking about going to 800 and 900 and 1000 year old back system, where it was draconian system, put it this way. So at this time, while we are feeling responsible, and as we are trying to do, raise the voice, being in media as you are doing, and all the media people are doing whatever it is in our possible, we are and we are doing the right thing by raising the voice. We can't be Joe Biden, we can't be Modi, we can't be Angela Merkel, because we are not in that power, but definitely bringing the questions and putting it bluntly, as Dr. Dheeraj just said, and I totally respect him, that we have to share this responsibility. The world has failed Afghan people. Now, if they are fighting, as I'm very sure any, I would say self-respective country will fight Afghanistan, when they will emerge from this, they'll be more stronger. And this is the lesson for world and for us as well. Thank you.
So nice of you, all of you, who just spoke about the G7, Afghanistan, and the global politics is going on. The responsibility of America is also just is so more attentive now, and how they have, but they are united with the G7 resolution. Whatever G7 country yesterday adopted the resolution on the humanitarian ground and all concerns should be taken care. And as we just analyze,
Dr. You want to say something, I guess.
One point. Just one point I wanted to bring to your notice.
Just now, winding up.
Yeah,
please.
Somebody can just answer that. Is that what do you think would be the role of the Northern Alliance? Can they be a negotiating chip against Taliban to do something?
I'm coming on that. I'm summing up with the Northern. The role of Northern Alliance is going to be very responsive, and this situation is not different now, not like the 1996. This is 2021. So the role of Northern Alliance can't be neglected on the front of the Taliban and Afghanistan. They have just doing something. They have all united, and last 2-3 back, 300 Talibans already killed.
Empowering them help? Can empowering them help?
No.
I do believe so.
All thing is going on, and whatever you are expecting, because now Mr. Saleh already declared himself president of Afghanistan. So situation is not like same the 1996. We hope for the best, for the humanity, for the peace, and for the safest for the people of Afghanistan. Thank you very much. And just we see the good things should be done very soon.
Absolutely.
For the Afghan people. So nice of you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. We'll meet again.